You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, 17th day of October, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We're still having some internet connectivity issues with the YouTube stream. So if you're listening via YouTube, in the question box, I have posted the link where you can actually just join the room live, and you won't have that, okay? Because I got a feeling if you're watching via YouTube, the stream's going to be choppy. So you can just log right in. I'm getting ahead of myself, but this afternoon broadcast is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth. The best way to join this broadcast is to go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link. Fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What'll happen is you'll get in today, but every trading day going forward, you'll get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In that email, there is a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it'll log you right into our platform. You won't have the choppy stream. Okay. Now, of course, you can cancel that at any time, but until you do, you'll get that email every day, about an hour before the broadcast starts. And when you join that way, of course, you immediately have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Now, this is our second live broadcast of the day. First live broadcast is private. Members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, go to mytradingiq.com, and at the top of the page, click that purple button, fill out the registration form, hit submit. We'll get your desktop set up today, get your indicators indicating today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, Friday. Well, guess what? You'll get Friday, you'll get Saturday and Sunday, and you'll get all of next week. I just turned a 5-day free trial into an 8-day free trial. You might say, well, gee, what good are the indicators to me over the weekend? Well, one, it helps you to get familiar with them, but there are markets that trade over the weekend. Some markets never sleep. So, however you choose to join us, we're always glad to have you here. On our YouTube channel, that's the way you can join when you're out of the office, away from your desktop, or maybe you're just busy and can't join live but want to catch up later. Go to youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,600 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing Pleasure. Now, thanks to the power of YouTube, you can literally see how we've evolved over the years. You can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, even though there's millions of teachable moments in all those videos, you're not going to watch them all. You don't need to. Just pick some days at random. That way you'll get to know who we really are. Not just today, not just this week, but over the years. I've been around since 2005, but the YouTube videos only go back 8 years. Okay? All right. As you can see, our daily schedule. We start out each day with our devotional, word of prayer, some news, recap of the alerts, the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts. And then about 50 minutes into the broadcast, Michael will join us, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for about 30 minutes. And then I'll come back and wrap things up with our good word for the day. And I am the software that we use to stream live on YouTube. I'm in communication with them, and they're working with me to resolve the issue. But the problem is I'm in America and they're not. So while I was sleeping last night, they were furiously emailing me. Hey, send us some screenshots, do this, do that. Well, this morning I wake up and I start furiously trying to chat and email with them, and guess what? Now they're sleeping. So I guess I'm just going to stay up tonight until they get to work, and we'll get it fixed. My apologies. Enough of that. Let's get rolling. All right. This is the final day of this devotional topic. What is the topic? We've been on it now. This is day 7 of 7. What is my purpose? We've all asked ourselves that question at some point in our life. When we were little, when we were tripping on acid, or just living our everyday life. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Well, the short answer is to learn to love God and love others. And Moses had 600 laws. The prophets had laws. But Jesus came and changed everything. He said, on these 2 things, hang all the laws of Moses and the prophets. Love God and love one another as you love yourself. Think about it. It all hangs on that. Today's scripture is Luke 11, verse 42. I'll let you guess who's talking here. I've had it with you. You're hopeless. You Pharisees, frauds. You keep meticulous account books, tithing on every nickel and dime you get, but manage to find loopholes for getting around basic matters of justice and God's love. Careful bookkeeping is commendable, but the basics are required. So our topic today is justice. Here's the focus. Our purpose and calling to love God and our neighbor starts with personal righteousness, moves into compassion and service, and ultimately extends to seeking justice in and around our communities. As you consider what this means for our relationship with Christ, use the passage from Amos 5 as a breath prayer. Inhale, let justice roll down like water. Exhale, righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. No, you haven't wandered into an ashram. But meditation, you think of gurus and some guy levitating on a mountain in the Himalayas. No, no, no. There's a new term, mindfulness, okay? That embraces meditation, but it is different. And if you want more information, I'll be happy to share it with you. Ronald Rolheiser wrote The Holy Longing, The Search for Christian Spirituality. In that, he wrote, I'm just going to give you a small piece of it. Private charity responds to the homeless, wounded, and dead bodies, but it does not of itself try to get at the reasons why they are here. Justice tries to go up the river and change the reasons that create homelessness, wounded, and dead bodies. Now that's something to meditate on. So, practical application. How do you imagine the command to love God and love your neighbors plays into our purpose to work for justice and righteousness? Why might Jesus have declared, "Woe to you, Pharisees, for keeping some elements of the law, but neglecting the need for justice"? Can you imagine your role in seeking and fighting for Christ-centered justice in your community, in your neighborhood, in your workplace, in your family? Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, you call us to not neglect justice and the love of God. Help us to live with hearts that seek both righteousness and mercy. May we not focus only on outward actions, but also cultivate inward compassion and a desire to do what is just and right in your eyes. Lead us to walk humbly, showing love and care to those around us. And Lord, there's many suffering in America today. We lift up all of the suffering from the effects of this hurricanes, comfort the grieving, heal the injured, provide for those who have lost their homes, their possessions, all their material things. May your presence bring peace, and hope in this time of devastation. Guide those who are providing aid and help the affected communities rebuild stronger, and let your love shine in their darkest moments. We pray for an end to the conflict in the Middle East. We ask that you bring healing where there is brokenness and protect the innocent. Guide leaders toward peace, justice, and dialogue. Soften hearts hardened by hatred, and open doors to reconciliation and healing. Let your peace, which transcends all understanding, rest on the region and its people. And Lord, America is really at a crossroads as we face these upcoming elections. We pray for your guidance and protection over the process. Grant wisdom and discernment to voters, and raise up leaders who will pursue justice, righteousness, and compassion. Calm the division and turmoil, and help the nation seek unity and common good. May your will be done in this election, and may your hand guide the future of our nation, one nation under God. It's in Jesus' name, believe and pray. Everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Thursday. Now, I bet after that interview yesterday, you expect me to go on a rant or a tirade. Don't think I don't want to, but I'm not going to. Let me give you the numbers from around the world instead. How about that? Here in the U.S., the Dow's up 123 points. The Nasdaq's up 108. S&P 500 is up 19. But the Russell 2000, our man in the street, is down 9. No movers, no shakers in the bunch. But we like to see all 4 of the major indices green or red, because as futures traders, we can trade in either direction at the drop of a hat. You'll be long, short, long again, all in the same hour if that's what the chart in front of you tells you to do. Now, is the Russell going to play catch up with the other 3, or is the Russell leading us to the downside? At the moment, I'm leaning towards the Russell, but we'll see. Nobody knows what's going to happen next in the market. I don't care what the websites say. I don't care what the emails you get say. It is not possible, not man, nor machine, nor algorithm, nor anything else can consistently and accurately predict the future. It's just not possible. It defies the laws of science, physics, and even God. So if you're wasting your time and treasure chasing these quote-unquote holy grails that will prevent you from ever getting stopped out again, man, save your money. Give it to one of these needy charities helping the hurricane victims. The only way to become a consistently profitable trader is to actually learn how to trade. And in order to learn how to trade, you got to find someone willing to teach you how to trade. Now, if you Google learn how to trade, you'll get a gazillion responses. But as you dig through there, tell me how many you find where they actually teach you to trade. We teach you 2 hours every trading day in an interactive group environment. We allow you to talk to our traders before you even become a member. We provide you with one-on-one mentoring when you become a member. In fact, even during your trial, you can have a one-on-one mentoring session. We're very transparent, okay, in everything that we do. So, let's go to the commodity basket. And I got some huge news for you here. Crude oil is up 2 pennies, trading 70.39 last. Gold up $14.80, trading $2,706.30 last. Silver's down 17 cents, trading $31.80 last. Now, although it's not officially news time yet, while we're on the topic of gold, you may have seen this headline just came out. Now, I've always told you there's a finite supply of gold and silver. That when God created the heavens and the earth, whatever gold and silver and other metals that he created, he sewed them up in the belly of the earth. And on the 7th day, he rested and said, I did a good job. And he did. Now, it's a finite resource, but apparently we haven't discovered it all. That's why there's still exploration companies out there. Announced today, officials at the Skouries gold mine in northern Greece said that a proven deposit of 740,000 tons of gold has been discovered, and extraction will begin in 2025. Although it's not known whether the deposit is pure gold, the value of the discovery could be astronomical. A current and very approximate figure for pure gold would be 60 million per ton. This means that the value of the deposit could reach 44.4 billion. They also found a bunch of copper and some other stuff. And they have some surrounding properties. So will that have an impact on the price of gold? Well, when you're talking about things that God makes, like gold and silver, wheat, corn, soybeans, there is supply and demand, okay? So we got a whole bunch more supply. It'll take them a while to get it out, refine it, all that. But will it ultimately impact the price of gold? Well, so far today, gold's up $14.60. I just want you to be aware. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, there will never be more than 21 million coins, period. There won't be any additional discoveries. There won't be any decision to mint more coins. It is the only fixed currency on planet Earth. Well, there's a couple of others, but their light hasn't shined yet. Some of you know what I'm talking about. We're just being patient. All right, in the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei dropped 269 points. Shanghai fell 33. For the Shanghai, that's a drop of over 1%, just over. The Hang Seng fell 207 points, which is just over 1%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE gained 56 points. The DAX rose 150. The CAC gained 91. And for the CAC, that's a gain of 1.25%. So we had a red day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And so far, it's a mixed Radio Thursday here in the US of A. So let's jump to some news before we go to the charts. We talked about this yesterday, but it's worth talking about again. Amazon is investing $500 million towards nuclear power to meet the rising energy demands of its data centers and artificial intelligence initiatives. Yesterday's announcement comes 2 days after Google unveiled plans to purchase nuclear power, and less than a month after Microsoft said it would reopen the 3 Mile Island plant, home to the worst nuclear accident in U.S. history, to fuel its AI efforts. I don't think anybody ever thought 3 Mile Island would be opened again. Most of you, I think, are old enough to remember when that thing melted down in the 70s. We got away. God's hand was on our nation when that happened. Nuclear power accounts for 19% of U.S. electricity generation and comes from energy released when the nucleus of a heavy atom splits into lighter atoms. While expensive and potentially hazardous, proponents pitch nuclear power as a clean alternative to greenhouse gas-emitting energy sources like coal, oil, and gas. energy-intensive generative AI applications and data centers are expected to account for roughly 9% of total U.S. power consumption by 2030. Amazon and Google are investing in small modular reactors, which are cheaper and easier to build than traditional nuclear reactors and generate up to 300 megawatts of power, or about 1/3 the amount of power of a traditional reactor. Only 2 SMRs currently operate in the world. Guess where? It's not Silicon Valley. One's in China, the other's in Russia. Well, the Menendez brothers are back in the news. Nearly 24 family members of Eric and Lyle Menendez gathered outside a Los Angeles courthouse yesterday, calling for their early release from prison. District Attorney George Gascon, who is up for re-election, has indicated openness to pursuing their resentencing ahead of a November court decline. Now, George Gascon, we all know, that's the George Soros-funded district attorney in L.A. And he is very much a part of the Soros catch and release program. It's a lot of the reason why our police officers and first responders, have kind of lost heart, because you can see it on the news as they're putting handcuffs on some criminal for whatever heinous crime he just committed. They laugh in the policeman's face and say, "Ha, I'll be out before you get off shift." And sadly, it's true. Now, if you're not familiar with the Menendez brothers, in 1996, in Beverly Hills, California, they were sentenced to life in prison for the murder of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez. The sons, 18 and 21 years old at the time of the killings, inherited $14 million, which prosecutors said served as the motive. This year, Netflix sparked renewed public interest in the case with the release of a miniseries and documentary. The projects highlight the boys' allegation of sexual abuse by their father, some details of which were not permitted at trial. Last year, the brothers petitioned for early release, attaching a letter they say Eric wrote to his cousin before the killings. Brothers maintain they acted out of self-defense. Now, I heard that letter read last night on TV, and it was chilling. He talked about how he spent every night afraid. Now, this letter was written before the murder took place. He keeps doing it. I just lay in my bed and I wait for the door to open. It'll rip your heart out. Or as an old friend of mine used to say, it's a ripper. Tech led U.S. stocks to record highs today as TSMC's upbeat outlook eased worries about artificial intelligence chip demand, helping lift shares of chip heavyweight NVIDIA to an intraday all-time high. Strong retail sales data also reinforced overall strength in the U.S. economy. The tech-heavy NASDAQ composite rose more than 0.5%, while the S&P added about 0.3% after touching an intraday record. Dow Jones Industrial Average also rose 0.4% to hover near all-time highs. All right. U.S. retail sales strengthened in September by more than forecast in a broad advance, illustrating resilient consumer spending that continues to power the economy. But they don't tell you how much of that was put on plastic. And if you haven't checked credit card interest rates lately, it should be illegal. I mean, there's lots of offers that out there at 30%, 35%, 39%. You go buy something for $1,000 and put it on a card with a 39% interest rate. Do the math. It's going to take you about a decade to pay off $1,000. That's if you only make the minimum monthly payment. The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits last week came back to more recent ranges after a big jump the week before due to hurricanes in the southeast. The Labor Department reported Thursday that applications for jobless claims fell by 19,000 to 241,000 for the week of October 12th. That's well below the 262,000 analysts were expecting. Applications for jobless benefits are widely considered representative of U.S. layoffs in a given week. 4-week average of claims, which evens out some of the weekly volatility, rose by 4,750 to 236,250. Total number of Americans collecting jobless benefits rose by 9,000 to about 1.87 million for the week of October 5th, the most since late July. We just had 20 million people enter our country illegally. Now, I said this yesterday, I say it today because it's the truth. They're either going to turn to a life of crime, as many have done, or they're going to be willing to work for less than minimum wage, cash money under the table. It's coming to a town near you if it isn't there already. Facebook owner Meta said on Thursday it had teamed up with Blumhouse Productions, the Hollywood company behind the popular horror films such as The Purge and Get Out, to put its new generative AI video model MovieGen to the test. The announcement comes after Meta unveiled MovieGen, which it said can create realistic seeming video and audio clips in response to user prompts. Meta claimed the tool could rival offerings from leading media generation startups such as OpenAI and 11 Labs. So pretty soon they won't need George Clooney to make a George Clooney movie. The computer will just do it. Will you still go see those movies? Okay. This should get everybody's attention. That's our last news piece today. Robinhood. I'm sure you've heard of him. I'm not talking about the guy in the tights with Little John and the bow and arrow and all of that. No, I'm talking about the brokerage. Robinhood is broadening its offerings to futures trading and index options as the retail brokerage aims to attract more sophisticated investors to its platform. Hey, all my future bros, we're sophisticated. The futures contracts investors will be able to trade the futures contracts that investors will be able to trade include the stock indexes, ES, YM, NQ, Russell, currencies, metals, energy, crude oil, with an access commission of 50 cents for Robinhood Gold members and 75 cents for other customers. Cryptocurrency futures will also be available. The firm also will offer CBOE Global Markets Incorporated supported index options at 35 cents per contract for Gold members and 50 cents for other clients. This is a pretty big deal. I have a Robinhood account, but I think all that's in it is some Dogecoin. And it's really easy to open a Robinhood account. You can do it in about 5 minutes. On your phone, just got to download the app. Beyond this expansion into futures trading and index options, Robinhood also is rolling out a browser-based trading platform that's more akin to those offered by Interactive Brokers and Charles Schwab, which are geared toward more mature investors and allow for advanced customization. Both the new offerings and the trading platform are indicative of Robinhood moving beyond its meme stock days and into an era of challenging the incumbents. Check it out. It might be right for you. I don't know. I'm going to stay with Bert. I've already made up my mind. He's been good to me since 2008. And that's how I was raised. My grandfather, no matter what the price of gas was at the time, he always went to the same gas station. And it didn't matter who had discounts on what at the grocery stores, my grandmother always went to the same grocery store. My grandfather always got his hair cut at the same barbershop. Now, I grew up in a small town in Georgia, but yes, there was more than one barber, more than one gas station, and more than one grocery store. And he instilled that in me. Anyway, let me get out of that rabbit hole. We're in week 323 of Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. Not just E-minis, but also crude, gold, silver, euro, bonds. Over the last 323 weeks, we've issued over 18,000 individual handcrafted alerts. Over 18,000. And we've averaged, on a weekly basis, 20% or less of the alerts being stopped out based on market structure and a very simple process that we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 54 alerts. When Valerie did the recap this morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, we were still waiting on the outcome of 17. Now, some of those have probably resolved themselves. In other words, they've now triggered. And so when she does the recap this afternoon, she'll bring everything up to date. And I think I only put out one alert today, maybe two. I think just one. Because we got so many waiting, I want to get in. Because, I mean, we got a great week going. 37 actionable alerts, of which 7 or 19% would have been stopped out. Again, based on market structure. In that very simple process, we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, each logic alert has an entry price, an initial target, additional targets, and a final trade to target. However, the purpose of the logic alerts is not so you can just trade them and not have to learn how to trade. I know some people do that, and I can't stop you. But I'm telling you, every day, use them as they're intended to learn how to read the chart. Until you can actually read a chart in multiple time frames, you're never going to learn to be a consistently profitable trader. Now, that's just the truth. So, when you become a member, you'll get them around the clock. You can use them to learn how to read the charts or not. That's entirely up to you. But with 18,000 alerts and 20% or less stopped out, if that's the kind of results you'd like to have, well, then you might want to use the logic alerts as they are intended. Okay. Long before we had Logic 247, our original alert service was the concierge trade alerts. Now, the logic alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 24/7, because futures trade around the clock and we have traders around the globe. So their day session is our night session and vice versa. But the CTAs don't come out around the clock. They're published as a static report shortly after the Globex open. If you're a member or trial member, make sure you read this information and make sure you understand it, okay? If you don't understand any of it, then ask. You can ask now, you can ask in Telegram, you can send an email, you can call us, whatever. But it's important that you understand, okay? So last night, the Thursday session began at 6 p.m. Eastern. Because we're in earnings season, I waited until 7:05 to issue these targets. Every one of our members and every one of our trial members had every one of these targets last night, an hour and 5 minutes after the session began. So, let us go over here and take a look at the S&P 500 E-mini daily chart. Now, what's today's high? Come on, help me out. 59.27 and a quarter. Okay. That's 3 ticks off. I know I'm going to be aggravated with myself for trying to get any closer. It's really hard on the daily chart. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. So let me spread this out a little bit. Now, these are the Fib retracements based on the low of April 19th to the new all-time historic high put in today. Look at that tiny candle yesterday. Our total volume yesterday was 8. We didn't break 1 million yesterday. Today we're at 731,000. We may have enough time. What I'm saying, the reason I keep pointing out volume is there's not a lot of conviction at these levels. Okay? I was actually kind of surprised to see an update today, but hey, you got to trade what's in front of you. Now, daily charts are important, not because you're going to trade them. Most people don't have accounts big enough to trade a daily chart, but institutional traders do. They look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size. So, whether you trade the S&P 500 E-mini or some other futures market, or individual stocks, or crypto, or Forex, or an ETF, spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you go to your smaller time frames and actually start trading. Number one, it gives you a free peek over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price. You and I are just liquidity. The institutions move price, okay? Now, it's pretty easy to see what the institutions have done today, right? Were there opportunities to sell on the way up? Yeah. I just kind of like to go with the flow. Nothing wrong with passing on a short trade and waiting for a long trade. You don't have to. It's personal preference, okay? So we're up against that 50% fib extension again. Let me make sure I got today's high right. 59.27 and a quarter. So we're 3 ticks off. And that's close enough for government work. Okay. We're not the government. But it's close enough. Now up here we got the 100% fib extension. Got a new all-time historic high today. That's kind of a big deal. Let's see how quickly that fades. Remember, this was an all-time historic high right here. See that candle? All-time historic high. Right there. And we had another all-time historic high. And then another. And then another. And now another today. Trees don't grow to the sky, and neither do the markets. At some point, you got to pay the band. So, now, we are well off the high of the day. Where are we at right now? Here. Make it easy. We're at 59.06. If I spread it out, you can see it over here. Oh, it's still hiding back there. We're basically 59.07. Okay. All right. I could take it down to a 1-minute chart and we'll see it. $9.07. Okay. All right. Anyway, all alerts are created on the 30-minute chart. Logic 247 and the CTAs. Nothing magic about 30 minutes. It's just a time frame I chose years ago, and it's been very good to me, so I'm going to stick with it. If it ain't broke, no reason to fix it. Nothing to fix. The vertical lines separate today, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, back here's Monday. Okay. When price drops to a weekly zone, we expect support. When price rises to a weekly zone, we expect resistance. We've published the zone since December 14th of 2009. This December will make 15 years. Our members and trial members get the weekly zones Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. This week's highest zone is at 59.80. I don't suspect we'll see it, but the purpose of the zones is to give our traders like a playing field for the week. Okay? We don't expect the market to close below the lowest zone. We don't expect it to close above the highest zone. And all the zones in between are where we expect to find support and resistance. Now, today's Thursday. The low of today's session is a weekly trading zone that was published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. This was the opening candle last night, but it was an hour and 5 minutes. It was this candle, okay? This candle right here, when the CTAs went out. This green line is called the BBC. It stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and anticipate higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and anticipate lower prices. And the pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. That's real important to remember. Now, even though it holds more often than it doesn't, we know eventually it will trade through. Keeps the markets fluid and tradable. And so we dropped to the weekly zone, 58.71.72, found support. That's the signal for the market to now go find resistance. So it made a run at the BBC, had to back up, make another run, and finally got through. In doing so, it created a bullish cross. Blue line got above the green line. So when price revisits 58.80, expect that to be good support. Okay. All right. So we ran to the long target, consolidated. When price hits a zone, 70% of the time you're going to get consolidation. 20% of the time you're going to get this, rejection. 10% of the time you'll get what's called the slice. That's when price slices through a zone like it's not even there. But when it runs out of steam, it will retrace back to the zone it sliced through and continue in the direction of the slice. So what does this chart tell us? Well, we got this run up. Okay. We already know we put in a new all-time historic high. Okay. Taking out this last one. But we ran into blue and climbing. It was directly above price. And the step line crossed. You see how on the way up, you had price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. I call it the perfect stack. It works up and it works down. Okay. But once that step line crosses to the right side of blue and climbing, then you anticipate a retracement back to the BBC. Now, it looks like the BBC didn't hold, but it did. Every one of these candles is touching the BBC. So yeah, it spiked it down to the zone where it found support. It even spiked below the zone, but look where it closed. Back at the zone. Then we got to run up into red and falling. That's resistance. Okay. Blue and climbing, that's bullish. This indicator is called the CFMA1. I just refer to it as blue and climbing, red and falling. Obviously one bullish, the other bearish. Now, if price, it's overcoming red and falling right now. If it can take out this high right here, then you have a very nice window of opportunity. $59.15 up to $59.19. Why didn't I go all the way up here? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, you see where this turned? That's an important price, important area. Now, if it travels through the top of this window, then I would identify another window of opportunity, like this. $59.21, $59.23. But I want to be out before I get here or here, because I got to expect those to be resistance. Okay. Now that's only if price is able to overcome this high. What if price gives up? That's okay. If institutional buyers hit the pause button, then I got a beautiful window of opportunity down here. Got to let the low get taken out here. And then look, there's no obstacles. From 58.98 down to 58.95. 98 to 95. That's 3 points. Only takes 2 points to get your goal for the day. So because of the support at the weekly zone, we didn't hit the short target. That's okay. It gave us a beautiful setup to hit the long target. This candle right here opened at 58.81 and ran up to 58.88 and change. That's a 7-point candle. At $50 a point, that's $350 per contract trading. If you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, then that's $3,500 in that one candle. You got to learn the methodology and the strategy first before you start trading real money and multiple contracts. We have a whole 24/20 blueprint that will walk you through the entire process. Okay. Now, by the time we have this broadcast tomorrow, I am fully confident that either this window will have filled or one of these two windows will have. Okay. Michael, is that you?
I am here. Yeah, I've been here. My mic was shut off again. The mic
okay.
issue did it.
All right, guys. We still have, we've only hit the ES yet, so we've got all the other markets to recap. But first, Michael is going to give us a recap of what happened in the live training room. Then we're going to do some live trading on TradingView for 30 minutes. That's when I'll come back, finish the recap of the alerts, and wrap things up with our good word for the day. And your charts look stunning.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's get started then. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, the 17th day of September 2024. 17th day of September 2024. All right. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingaq.com. Click on this purple button right here. There is no credit card required for this trial. Click on the purple button. Once you do that, you will be sent to this registration page where all that we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. There are 5 multiple choice questions. Down here at the bottom, please give us your Ninja Machine ID if you want to use NinjaTrader for charts. We don't need it if you just want to trade on Ninja, but if you want to use it for charts and you want a subset of our indicators to work on your NinjaTrader charts, then give us your machine ID. All right, if you want all the indicators to work, give us your TradingView login ID. We have all the indicators on TradingView. So give us your TradingView login ID and we'll get you set up there. All right. All right. So we had a pretty good day today, given that we had a pretty good day today.
Can I share one thing with you real quick?
You sure can.
Okay.
You sure can.
Because this is kind of a big deal. No, that's not it. Here it is. Robinhood is broadening its offerings to futures trading and index options as the retail brokerage aims to attract more sophisticated investors to its platform. They called us sophisticated.
I know.
Futures contracts you'll be able to trade include the stock indexes, ESYM, NASDAQ, Russell, currencies, metals, crude oil, natural gas, with an access commission of 50 cents for Robinhood Gold members and 75 cents for other customers. Cryptocurrency futures will also be available. And then they go into all kind of other stuff. But I just wanted you to know that because I know we have some things coming up. And
Yep.
Do you have an account with Robinhood?
I do.
I do too. Well, they're coming out with a browser-based version.
I saw that. I was looking at that with all the stuff that's going on. I was looking at that the other day too. They don't have a DOM yet. I know that's one of the things I was looking for. I did notice that it said something about futures. I thought on the website it said something about futures, but it didn't go into any detail.
I'll dig into it and learn what I can and report back tomorrow.
Okay, good, excellent. All right, it's good news. Well, it's all good news. It's all good. Everything's good. Well, for most people. I did hear about one bad thing for one of our partners. So she is in our prayers. So if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. 91 ticks on the NQ, 41 ticks on the Russell, 15 ticks on the YM, and 11 ticks on the ES. Put us at 872.5 on the morning session. Today it took 5 minutes and 3 trades. 5 minutes and 3 trades. To get to the goal for the day today, at that point we're up $1,000, and we took a total of 20 trades today. Yes, that's correct. On the month now, we're at $9,865 with one contract over 13 trading days, averaging $758 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, on the year, we've gotten our goal on 196 out of 196 days. We've now gone 91 business days since our last non-green day. 357 business days. 357. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just thinking of something else, different. Two different things actually went through my mind. The ES hit a new all-time high. Good stuff, right? 357 business days since our last red day. On the year now, we're at 96,000. We crossed over $96,000 today on the year. We're at 1.4 million with everything we've done, but $96,000 with one contract over 196 days, averaging $489 per contract per 2-hour trading day. If you were to add one contract per month over here, the 2420 blueprint, adding one contract per month, and quit trading when you get the goal for the day. The goal this morning was to get this number here to be 100, and we got it right to 100. It was odd because we had 19 ticks on this one and 1 tick on this one. We had 1 tick on the YM and 19 ticks on the NQ. But the goal for the day, when you get the goal for the day, sometimes, most of the time, it's going to go over a little bit. Like anytime it's over $1,000 this month, we're going over. Right? Some days we go over a lot. Those would be the NQ trades where it goes over a lot. Some days, if it's over $2,400, that means we were positive, and then we had an NQ trade that added 2,400 on top of it. Right? But that's because the NQ has a 48 tick profit target, and we hit the whole thing. Anyway, you'd be averaging $2,696 per hour on the year. All right, if you quit trading when you got the goal for the day, and you would only have to work 57 hours. Now, let's get into the trades we did do. We did a little bit of something on everything. We didn't have a ton of trades, but wow, I look at it like this. I can see why we didn't trade in there. We did have this right here. Our first trade right here on the YM was 1 tick. We had 1 tick on this one. And then over here, we picked up 14 ticks. No, I'm sorry. There's a trade missing in here. We had 1 tick, and then there's 2 trades missing in here. Okay, maybe they're over here at the very end. No, they're not. Oh, we had 1 tick, and then we had a plus 10 that got us to 11 ticks. Then we had a plus 2 that got us to 13. And then we had another plus 2 that got us to 15. So in here somewhere, there was a plus, this was probably the plus 10 right here. And then there was a plus 2 and another plus 2 in here somewhere as we went through the day some more. Right? I don't know exactly where they were, but we ended up with 15 ticks on the YM. And during the break, it doesn't look like there was anything in here during the break. Well, this was right at 11:30, this one right here. Now, I don't know if it went 10 ticks into profits. If you got 493, it ran up to 506. So yeah, there was 10 ticks in profit there. So that would have had enough to get a break even on that one. We went sideways here, didn't have anything. This was coming out of the weekly trading zone, but you can't see all 4 lines in the ribbon. So you really didn't have anything else there on the YM. Okay, you really did not have anything else here on the YM. The Russell, here we go with the Russell. We start out here, all the trades on the Russell. Actually, you know what? I think these last 2 on the Russell. Yeah, I think those last 2 on the YM. I actually wrote down the wrong column. I'd have to go and look. But we had the first trade here on the Russell was a plus 15. And then the second trade over here was a plus 21. That got us to 36 ticks. Then we had a plus 5. That got us to 41. And then I have 2 more. I think this was a plus 2, and I think this was a plus 2. So I think I got those wrong. So the YM ended up being 11, and the Russell ended up being a 43 and then a 45. These are the 2 missing trades that I didn't have on the YM. They're here on the Russell. I just wrote it down in the wrong column. So let me fix that right now in here. It works out the same anyway, but this ends up being a 45, and this ends up being an 11. The overall number is the same. Okay, back here. During the break, there was 1 decent trade right here during the break. I guess that's it, right? Yep. 1 good trade right here during the break where it came out of the oversold and it just ran. That was a really nice trade. Here on the ES now, look, my diamond principle. I was saying it's going to be right there. Right there was where it's going to hit. and it missed it by just a tick or two. Those of you guys that were watching this morning. All right, so on the NQ, I think I missed our first trade because our first trade was at the beginning of all of this, I think right here. I'm pretty sure this is where we got the goal for the day on this very first one right here. It was this one. Because I got one trade out of all that, and then I didn't get any of the rest. All right, so we got 48 ticks on that first trade. I'm sorry, 19 ticks. 19 ticks on that first trade. 19 ticks on the first trade. And then we got 48 ticks over here. That got us to 67. Then we got another 48 ticks there. That got us to 115. And then we had a break even. And I missed a stop out. Hang on. I missed 2 stop outs. Oh, this is the ES. Okay, this is the ES. I'm sorry. All right, this is the ES. That makes sense now. That makes sense. I missed this on the ES. This is the ES. Okay, so on the ES, we only had a couple of trades. We had this one right here. I'm sorry, we had this one right here for 1 tick. We had more trades than that on the ES. But anyway, we had 1 tick, and then we had 8 ticks. Something like that. We had 1, and then another one that went to 3. We had 1 for 1 tick, 1 for 2 ticks, and 1 for 8 ticks. I think this might have been the 8 tick one. I think I was supposed to make that blue. I'm not exactly sure, but we had 5 trades in total on these. So we had 2 break-even trades that I'm not showing, and we had 3 trades that actually made money. Oh, maybe this is it over here. Okay, so maybe that was a break-even. We'll make that a break-even. I don't know. I'm all over the place. But we had that, I think, was our last one. I think we got 8 ticks profit on that. And that's what I drew in the diamond principle right here. I had suggested it was going to get up to here at this point, and it got pretty close to there at that point based on the diamond principle that I was using. And since then, there was another trade right here that you could have taken on the ES right there. Yeah, there's another one right in here that you could have taken. It looks like it probably went just enough to get the stop to break even, 10 1/4 up to 11.50, just enough to get the stop to break even. And that was it on the ES. Nothing else has happened there on the ES. Okay, so now the NQ. Right, the NQ is what I was looking at a few minutes ago, and we'll get all of that done here. What time is it right now? It's 1:07. Wow. Okay, so the NQ on this huge move right here. I got a break even on the very first trade, and then this one I only got 19 ticks on. That was the big move down. I thought I was looking at the ES. When I was looking at the ES, I thought I was looking at this move down on the NQ. We only had one opportunity there, and I got 19 ticks. That's where we got the goal for the day. Our next trade was in here, and we got 48 ticks on that. That got us to 67. Then the next trade was here. Got us another 48 ticks to 115. Then we stopped out. Brought us down to 79. Then we had 48 ticks there. That got us up to 127. Then we stopped out, and that got us back down to 91. And that was it, I think, right? We got into the lesson plan, and I don't think I traded anymore. Nope, I didn't. Right. So after we finished the morning session, there was one trade here, good for 48, one trade there, good for 48, one trade here, good for 48. So right there between those 3 trades, you have whatever that is, 144 ticks. I think that's right. 3 times 48. That's what that is. Something like that. Yeah, 144. Anyway, there was another trade here that was good for something, some kind of profit. Then it switched directions, and you had to wait until it got down below the weekly trading zone. So you could have taken one right here for 48. Wouldn't have done that going into the zone. If you did take something right here going into the zone, it would have been some kind of profit or break even. The next one was a short right here. If you spread it out, hang on, hold it. If you spread it out, you can see that there was just enough here to show 4 lines. It didn't put in a lower swing, but it did give you plenty of opportunity for profit. And that brings us here. You wouldn't want to do that going right into the zone like that. You know, didn't have enough room to get the stop to break even. And right now, 83 and a quarter up to 88. It's 5 points there. That is enough to get it is enough to get it to break even if you got in right here at exactly the right spot. But it is going right into the weekly trading zone. So we'll pass on that one. Okay, so we ended up with 91 on the NQ this morning. 91 on the NQ. All right, so now I just want to say this. If you are watching YouTube and you're just logging on YouTube and you haven't taken the free trial yet, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. No credit card is required for the trial. Click on the purple button. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Click on the purple button and you'll be brought to this registration page where we ask for your name, your email, your phone number, fill out the multiple choice questions. If you have NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID. If you have TradingView, give us your login ID. Simple as that. Okay. Okay. Let's see. That's it. Now we can start trading again. All right. So we want the NQ to get away from the weekly trading zone. Whether it goes up, it moves away from it. It goes down, it moves away from it. We want it to get away from it. The ES had this trade right here was the last trade and didn't put in a higher swing. The Russell actually has a trade right here. 95.6. You can get in right there. Right here. 94.9. I just entered. Okay.
Caleb had a question.
Caleb, oh sorry, let me bring the question box up. I hadn't even looked in the question box yet. Hold on. Let me see. For the NQ, you don't see that as being a weekly trading zone on the chart on Telegram. This one right here. 20,000.
2488/2489.
That is correct. Let me go look at Telegram. Maybe you're looking at the wrong thing in Telegram. It's possibly looking at last week's stuff. Okay. We need 10 ticks in profit on this.
It's in my journal, so.
Okay, stop breaking on that. Well, it's right on mine, so.
Oh yeah,
here,
because you copied it from the thing, and that's how I got there.
Yeah. 20. Wait a minute. This is this week's, right? Yeah, this is this week's NQZ. What is it? 2488. Oh, it's not listed in here. How is it listed on mine?
Okay.
Am I looking at the wrong thing right now?
Go to the thing that I didn't do that. That's Joseph's stuff. I look at the thing that I published.
Yeah, well, what you publish is what I copy and paste from. So
exactly. That's
let's
what I'm
go.
saying.
Let's go here. 2488. Here it is right here. 2488, 2489. It's right there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
Caleb.
thought you did this. This one right here. I thought you did that.
Nope. Either Valerie or Joseph does that. I think Valerie does.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Val must do it. Joseph does this one down here.
Yeah. Use the one that I do, guys, which is the one that you just saw Michael copy and paste
this
from.
up here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that I don't ever make a mistake, because Lord knows I have over the last couple of weeks, but I try to correct it as quick as I'm notified.
Right, so this is last week's stuff. This is probably what you were looking at, Caleb, right? The NQ in here, or even that one that I was just looking at. It wasn't in that one down here either. It's not in here. So I don't know where these zones are from. Are any of them right?
2972. No, all your zones are right. 2972 is last week's zone.
Yeah, the first zone.
First zone last week was 2971/972, or the highest zone, which would be the first one.
Okay, let's go there and see. We're still in this trade here on the NQ. Yeah, 2971, 2972 is the first zone.
That was last week's zones.
Okay, so then last week was wrong too, because these are last week's right here, and the NQ.
Like again, I can't take responsibility for what I don't do, but I gladly take responsibility for what I do. He said do. Okay.
2833. 2833. Okay. Well, it's figured out. It was not published right in the table portion.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. You have to take responsibility for what happens in your administration. Did you see that last night?
He said he used the photo. Okay, so that's the problem. So
Yes.
I'll send
Okay.
Joseph a very kind message and let him know.
I don't
Or
think
Val.
it's Joseph.
It might be Val. We'll talk to her tonight and ask her.
Yeah. I don't think Joseph does that part. He does the Ninja Trader stuff. All right.
Okay.
So I missed this one over here on the YM right here. And this one here on the ES. I missed them both while we're doing that. There's nothing on the NQ though, but you guys see, the ES, I'm sorry, the ES wasn't a trade because we didn't get a higher swing from this one. But the YM was definitely a trade from right here, and I got up to the higher swing right now. So let's look at the YM. Let's do a little bit of analysis on the YM. Now, based on the stuff we said this morning about reading the DOM, the YM should get up here above the high of the day, which is 43,550 is the high of the day there. It's got a pullback number right here at 535, all right, and it's got a go-to number right there at 550. So if that comes together, how would that work out? 535, right, is what I just said, 535 on that pullback. That's going to put it right here on pullback. So it's not going to be a very deep pullback if it does just that. See if there's anything else popping up as it pulls back. 530's got a number. So that's a little better. We want to see it actually put it in a higher swing before it pulls back. That would be ideal. If it does put in a higher swing, then we can apply the diamond principle too. And the diamond principle would put the future destination of this right about here.
Yeah, right now you only got a one tick higher high, right?
Yeah, that's not really going to do it.
That's not enough. Yeah.
No, it's not. Right.
Write that down, guys. A one tick higher high doesn't qualify.
And I believe we just got out of break even on the Russell. I'm gonna find my DOM. Here it is. We did get out of break even on the Russell. It came back down, took us out of break even. We did have 10 ticks in profit though. Let's see. This is just going sideways, and this is just going sideways right now. Now the automated thing that went out last night. Never mind. Doesn't really matter. What time is it? 1:17. We have 13 minutes left. 13 minutes. I feel like I had a bunch of stuff that I had to do, but I don't remember what any of it is right now. We're looking for this to get up here and get a higher swing. I wanted to go see what some of the equities that I was talking about yesterday. Netflix, where'd that end up today? Netflix had earnings come up today, I think, right? And yesterday, I want something. What's the symbol for that guy? Taiwan Semiconductor. There it is, right there. TSM, just TSM. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Hang on, let me spread it out so you can see a little better. Yes, here is, actually the gap is right here. Hang on, I'm not at the end. Let me go to the end. There it is. Here it is, yeah. So the gap was right here from 86 up to 88. That was $4 right there. But is that that was not today. That was a different day. Here's the gap for today. Here it is. From 87 up to 89, it gapped up. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, this is a range bar. Let's push on the daily. Oops, sorry, that's a range bar too. One day is what we want. Here we go. There we go. Hang on. I still got this thing going here. I don't know what I was just going to draw, but there's the gap you're talking about. 87 up to 202, 203. So yeah, that's a good gap, 16 points. That's the one. That's the one that's pulling everything up. Is that even in any of the indexes? Taiwan Semiconductor. probably not. I don't know. I don't know either. It could be. It could be in, you know, but NFLX, that was one that I was looking at yesterday, at the end of the day yesterday. Let me show you what I was looking at. And this was from the partners meeting last week, and we'll go over it again tonight. I was on 100 range, I think, maybe a 50 range. Maybe a 50 range. You can see I have a screenshot of it. I stuck it out in the Telegram channel. But I said to buy a call, I need to buy puts last night on the close. And this is a 50 range, and it was here. Last night on the close when this happened is when I was saying to look for puts on that. Okay. Yeah, well, they're closing down like, 100 stores, 1,200 stores. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. By the building. Well, Ron will probably be in the meeting tonight. I don't know if he's here right now. No, he's not. But I can text him if you want. Anyway, I'm going to the end of this. What I was getting at was at the end of the day yesterday, and at the end of every day, if you have something like one of these stocks that has a lot of volatility, that is coming out of the overbought, coming out of the oversold, at the end of the day, that's a good time to look at options on that stock. And I'll get into that in the partners meeting tonight. Okay. I was just saying it. I was going to cover this and Walmart because Walmart had to buy and Netflix had to sell, and they both did well. Walmart at the end of the day yesterday had on the 50 range, it had this. Was it this? Is that today? No, it was right here. Yesterday at the end of the day, had this, and I was looking for it to get up to here to the swing high. It wasn't actually on the 50 range that I was looking at on, though. I don't think it was a 25 range. I think, yeah. I'll be able to go see. I have a screenshot of it. But it was coming out of the oversold at the end of the day. Maybe this is it right here. I don't know. It was coming out of the oversold, and it was looking to get up to the prior swing high, and it had done that this morning. We can talk about that some more in the meeting tonight. I won't do it right now. Right now, let's see if we have any more trades here. The Russell did put in a higher swing. It actually had a trade right here. This is the same trade that I took right here. It didn't put in a higher swing from there yet. The YM still hasn't put in a higher swing yet either. And the ES and the Russell are just going sideways. There's not a lot going on there. Yeah, usually that photo is correct. I don't know how that ball in particular was fumbled, but fumbles happen. You close that. All right, so what else do we want to look at? We can go look at Bitcoin and see what that's doing right now. All right, Bitcoin is the high right now, 68,695. So that's still been moving up. Using the leg lengths. And if we go back to here and we start the leg lengths from right here, let's see what kind of symmetry we have in the markets. We use that one up to there. Okay, that's our leg length. That one up to there. That's where we're at right now. Up to there, where we're at right now. Okay, so if we were to pull back from here and we use this as our next point, that puts us right here at 74,740. What's the all-time high on Bitcoin? right about there. 74,000, right? Let's put this out to 5 targets. Put that out to 5 targets. It'll find that for us. 74,415. That is it. So, again, the symmetry of the markets is just amazing. Using the leg lengths from there up to there, and from there up to where we are right now, and using this one right here up to there. It could happen. It could happen before the election. It could happen today. It's Bitcoin. A lot can happen in a single day. Let's see, what else was I looking at over here? We almost have a trade here on the NQ. Almost. We don't have anything there. We don't have anything. The NQ is the closest thing to giving us a trade. Now, what was this one? This was crude oil. All right. Let's look at crude. Now, we're still below the lowest weekly trading zone here on crude. Still below it. This is going to be an unusual week. We're going to stay below it. It happens. It does happen. This looks like so much now. I mean, I love the arrows telling us when to go and all that, but it was just so much more for me to say when I'm going through everything. I'm saying, okay, we're gonna get an arrow if we come out of the overbought, and when we had the other slingshot down there, the ultimate slingshot. It's hard for me to put all those pieces together in my mind right now. That was 6, and what do we have on 7? 7, we had soybeans, I think, right? No, not soybeans, the bonds. Bonds on the 3 range. We do have some bond auctions this afternoon, I think, right? It's on a 3 range. Bonds haven't moved at all today. I think it's because we have some auctions this afternoon. And this is the leading bond contract. I don't know where all the volume is on the bonds. It could be rolling over right now. I know right now the crude's going to be rolling over pretty soon, I think. Last time I looked, all the volume was still in the X contract, but I know it's got the orange color on it, which means that I think it's next up to roll. The X contract has 118,000 and the Z has 31,000, so it's not going to be too long before it does actually roll. Yellen speaks at 3 p.m. Okay, well, that could be something that's holding things up too with the bonds. I thought we had, we go here and here and here. I was pretty sure we had something this afternoon with bonds. Today is Thursday, and here we are. 11:30 is a 4-week bill auction, 8-week bill auction, and at noon, there's a 5-year mortgage rate and 30-year mortgage rate. So that all came out already. Monthly budget statement coming out at 4 o'clock. So Yellen talking, that's not scheduled. Did I talk about the crude today? I didn't talk about the crude at all today, Paul. I can talk about it if you want to. What do you want to know? You want me to just look at it and go through the trades that set up and stuff? There is one thing that I did do, guys, and I did this during the last session. I added the full brackets on here, and I added the 9 range on here too, right? Because now that you mentioned crude, yeah, the crude inventories came out at 11 o'clock today. I didn't talk about the crude inventories today, but they came out at 11 o'clock. And the natural gas inventories came out at 10:30, as they usually do on Thursdays. But let's just look at the crude. This is crude right here, I think. Okay, let's just shut that one off. We'll put a fresh one on because the fresh one doesn't have all the other stuff on it. Just for regular context on there. And we'll put it on the 9 range. And everything else is good. All right, so this is what crude looked like today. Now, I didn't talk about it at all, Paul. But let's just look at what happened with it. It looks like it had a lot of volatility. Maybe not that much. It's just spread out a lot. Let me do this. There. Okay, That looks a little better. So on the crude today, the first opportunity coming out of the oversold would have been right here. Just barely put it in a higher swing. The next one would have been right here. That was enough to get the stop to break even. On a 9 range, it's kind of like the 7 range. We put the stop to break even after 4 or 5 ticks. It didn't put it in a higher swing, so you wouldn't have been doing anything else in that direction. Then you would have to wait until it crossed down. It didn't actually come out of the overbought right there. I don't think. If it did, it was enough to get the stop to break even without putting in a lower swing. Over here, you would have gotten in there. That would have taken a little while. But this is a 9 range. It would have gone just about enough to get your goal for the day. Just about. The next one was right here. That was a nice trade right there. The next one was right here. That was enough to get break even or maybe a little profit. Then it went really sideways for a little while. And right here, this probably would have been the first stop out on it right here. Okay, where it came out of the overbought right there. It doesn't look like it went enough to get the stop to break even from 31 down to, I guess it did, 31 down to 26, 27. Depends if you got any slippage. If you got any slippage, it probably wouldn't have been. But the stop on this is 15 ticks, right, on a 9 range. I think I had a 15 tick stop set for that. Let's go look. What did I say? Yeah, 15 tick stop. So depending where you filled, 31, it ran up to 44. Yeah, so it would have been really close to stopping you out if it didn't. So you wouldn't have done anything else in that direction, and you wouldn't have done anything else until all the way over here. There's a long trade right here that you could have taken for the move up, and that's it. And that's it. So it did have some opportunity. Oh, you're talking about, no, I wouldn't go with that anymore right now, Paul. I don't think it's gonna make it up above the lowest weekly trading zone. And what it typically does, you know, when you're talking about the weekly trading zone stuff, let's go back to the larger time frame with this. We're gonna do that. Go here to the 30-minute, right? And this is the one that I had that was way over here, right? Yeah, it is. I thought I had the weekly trading zones on here. Huh. I thought I did. Well, anyway, typically when you have the weekly, oh, I did. I had it on the other one. It was on this context VP, I think. Yeah, there it is. If you're below the weekly trading zone on a Monday or a Tuesday, usually by the end of the week it gets to the other zone, but it's Thursday now. So I wouldn't.
Looks like this time's not going to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with that theory anymore. No, we're going to wait till the next zones come out and see where it falls next week. But with this kind of, well,
remember,
I mean, it's not like it didn't have.
My break point was $72.35. I said, unless it can get above $72.35, don't consider going long. I said that since Monday.
And I was long right here when it got up to 71.31. I was long. I had 48 ticks profit in it at that point, I think. I mean, I was in there and Jack was in it with me at the same time. I got in at 84 and Jack got in at 85. And whatever that is, we were both in it. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning the other day. And we're both in it and we're chatting back and forth. And I said I was going to hold it and I was going to bump my stop if we got an up close on this bar. And if we didn't get an up close on that bar, I wanted to give it room to come and run and do better than that. I guess he took profit there and I didn't.
Now, it looks like it's in a transition pattern from a downtrend to an uptrend. That's my take on it, but the uptrend part hasn't taken off yet.
Yeah, it's got a long consolidation spot right here. It hasn't had one of those in a while.
That's why I want to get 70. I want to see 70 break a 72.35 should take us to at least 74.50.
Well, it's got a huge gap in the target table. Once it gets up into this area right here, it's got a huge gap. Between like 71
crude, I mean, sometimes we see crude run $3-4 in a day. So
yeah. All right. So Miles, I saw you texting me, but I didn't read it yet. Right, but I will in a few minutes. I'll respond to you in a few minutes. Now, I've run over my time here, guys. So let me just go back here to this and this and this. And there's a partners meeting tonight.
You gotta be a member to get into the meeting.
Yes.
And if you're allowed to come to tonight's meeting, that means you have access to tons of previous members-only workshops. Got them locked up in a vault in Telegram. You'll have the golden key.
Yes. Indeed.
Not that
All
you
right, so if
need
you
to
haven't
watch
taken a free
them,
trial,
but they're there. Go ahead.
yeah, there's a lot of information. If you haven't taken the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com, click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click that button. It's going to bring you to this registration page. Just fill out the information. It takes 30 seconds or less. Fill it out. Make sure we get your TradingView login ID so we can enable the indicator set for you. Okay. All right. And with that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
I am.
Okay.
All right. Recap of the morning session.
Today it took 5 minutes and 3 trades to get to $1,000.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. We had made it as far as the ES. And while we were talking about the ES, I drew in 3 windows of opportunity. This is if the pullback doesn't hold. If the pullback does hold, we got to take out this high. But we want to be out by the top of where blue turns to red. That's an important price, important area. Okay. And then if it gets through that, you've got yet another window here. You want to be out. You get to that high because that's potential resistance and that's potential resistance. That right there is the all-time historic high. So I already covered all that. Just for anybody that came late, I covered it again. Anytime you miss the afternoon broadcast, you can always watch it later at youtube.com/CFRN. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, little bell. That way you're always notified whenever we go live. Okay. All right. Remember the vertical lines separate today, Thursday, from Wednesday, from Tuesday. This was a window of opportunity that we drew live on the show back on Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and it filled beautifully. And the one we drew on the upside, well, look at there. It filled too. See, this is what I'm teaching you, especially in one-on-one mentoring, is about planning your work in advance. Okay. See, I already knew that if price got to this area, I wanted to be long. Now, how long did it take? Because I drew this window, both of these windows, on Tuesday. Now, this one filled on Tuesday. But it was yesterday afternoon when this one finally filled. People sometimes ask me, say, well, okay, how long is a window of opportunity good for? Forever, until it's triggered. Okay. And so not only did these trigger, but they both filled. And both were enough to give you your goal for the day. 43040 to 43080. I don't know. That's like 50 points. You need 20 to get your goal for the day. Let's see. Let's call it 320 up to 350. That's 30 points. Okay. More than enough to get your goal for the day. So last night, here's where the market opened. And it made a beeline down to the zone. Remember, when price drops to a zone, we expect support. See what happened yesterday? See what happened Tuesday? See, from support, we bounced up to resistance. Resistance sent us back down to support, where we consolidated for a whole lot of hours, from 6 p.m. Eastern till the 9:30 open yesterday morning. Just consolidated right along the zone. That's what's going to happen 70% of the time. Consolidation when price encounters a zone, like this mesh you got going right here. Okay. So we came down to the zone, which we expect to be support, and price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. It's called the BBC. The pullback holds more often than not. This was what we call support times 2. 2 reasons the market should find support: the BBC and the weekly trading zone. Okay. So from support, Get a leg up and a retracement and a leg. Price rarely travels in a straight line. Now, this one green candle right here opened at 322 and ran up to 362. That candle had 30 points in it. And you had everything you needed. Okay? You're above the BBC. You're above the step line. The step line's above blue and climbing. Doesn't get any more bullish than that. But again, price rarely travels in a straight line. From the largest time frame to the smallest time frame. Leg retrace, leg retrace, leg retrace, leg retrace. Pull back held. Now, let me make sure you understand this. When this candle opened, okay, it went green for a little bit. And then it became a red candle all the way down to the BBC. But before the 30 minutes were up, price had rallied all the way back up to the target. So then we get another leg, another retracement, go back holds. We get another leg, and we now have basically a double top, the Dow. Break the double top. So I got one more zone way up there. Okay. Price gets tired here and starts to drop. To trade 43,400 to 380, low for the day. Or you could trade 340 to 310. More than you go for the day. Now, it looks like we're going to put in a higher high. Okay. I put this in price discovery mode, so just be careful up here. Okay. At some point, these institutional traders that are running this up, they're going to take profits. It might not be today. Be tomorrow. Maybe they don't want to carry it home over the weekend. But that's the deal. All right. Russell. Here's where we opened last night with red and falling overhead. That walks us right down to the BBC. The pullback holds more often than not. So at about 1:30 a.m. Eastern, ahead of the London Open, got that perfect stack. Price, step line, blue and climbing, BBC. Bang, up we go. And not only do we hit the target, but we put in a higher high than yesterday. Now we've got a double top here and here. So once price hit the long target, we got below the BBC, and price was dropping pretty good. We had red and falling. Okay. Now you would think, oh, okay, price is going to go back to the short, or going to go to the short target. You have to look left. Okay. Had to be expecting that right there, that low, to be potential support. Price didn't get all the way there. It actually, it spiked. Okay, this low, where you would expect support, 22.98, 22.97. So buyers came in 1 point ahead of that low, drove us back up to the target, but the pullback held because all candles are touching the green line. Then we get what we really wanted, and that was the move all the way down to the short target and on down to the zone. 2285/86. These are zones published for all members and trial members Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Support will send the market looking for resistance. So we expect the pullback to hold until it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you can then trade long, but make sure you get out for this high. And if it gets through that high, there's your next resistance. Bang. And then there, high of the day. Okay. See, once you understand how to read a chart, it just feels natural. Like reading a newspaper or a mystery novel. Support to resistance. Back to support. Back to resistance. Okay. Now, still got one more zone overhead. And do we have anything worth looking at over here? No, not there. Ah. Oh, I wish I could get it to all show up in one screen. Alright, here's what we're back over there. The high of the day. Alright, we're going to call it 2311. Gotta get going. This is important. Okay, so where's 2311 in the grand scheme of things? Well, we ran into resistance right there, where blue turned to red. See that? So where's the next major area you should expect resistance? 2321. Okay. So if price were to start climbing, 2321 should be a target. To be conservative, you know. I mean, you only need 2 points to get your goal for the day. We're talking about if this pullback doesn't hold. But we expect it to hold until it doesn't. Okay, that's really important. See how the step line crossed red and falling? That tells us price is headed for the BBC. Bull bear cross. Bearish below the green line, bearish above the green line. Okay. All right, NQ. Here's where we opened last night, and we dropped to the short target. Support. Bounced us up to the BBC and the zone resistance. Sent us back to support. And from support, we got to go find resistance. This time we overcome the zone and the BBC. Remember, eventually we'll trade through. I've shown you so many examples today of the pullback holding. Here, here, here. You know, all the ones in all the different markets. Suffice it to say, the pullback holds more often than not. Eventually it'll trade through. And what did it do? Just right up to our target. Right up to the zone. Spiked the zone, consolidated, continued higher. Now, here's an interesting one. The step line crossed blue and climbing right here. Price went up to test blue and climbing, which has become resistance. Spiked the zone. Now, the high right here. You see, we've got a bearish cross right at the zone. That's when the red line gets below green line. You should be expecting resistance here for 2 reasons. The previous bearish cross 2 days ago and the weekly zone. So I got another zone overhead. Okay. So resistance sent us to support. which bounced us up to resistance, sent us to the target, which was perfect support. That bounced us back up to this zone, resistance, sent us down to the VBC support. Now we're climbing again. Okay? You only need 5 points to get your goal for the day. So 25.12 to 25.26. And you get 5 points out of that. Or if you want to be more conservative, let price get up here. 25.37, 25.53. You only need 5 points to get your goal for the day. Now, Michael talks in ticks. I talk in points. Okay? But our strategy, everything's built on the same underlying principles. Okay? So don't let that confuse you. What I want you to have is I want you to have one monitor of whatever you're trading with a 30-minute chart as your roadmap, and then a monitor with your 7-tick range chart for the purpose of execution. Okay? And at the cost of a monitor today, I mean, you don't have to go get a 55-inch and hang it on the wall. That'll run you $350. You can get you can buy flat panel TVs like 32-inch or 48-inch, whatever, for like $100, 125, 150. And those you can just put on your desk. Okay, so monitors used to be so expensive. My first color monitor I bought in the late 90s weighed 75 pounds, and I paid $500 for it. The 55-inch that you're looking at right now hanging on my wall, when the guy handed me the box, he went back to get it. I go, wait a minute, there's nothing in the box. He laughed. He goes, yeah, trust me, there's a TV in there. Wow. Yeah. Things have changed. That was years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I burned out my first 55-inch and went back and got another one. But it lasted me, I don't know, 7 years. Person. All right, let's get done. Crude oil. Here's where we open. Ran up to here. Found resistance. Sent us looking for support. Back to resistance, back to support. This is a choppy, I don't want to trade it kind of market. Although I did have a logic alert that said sell 70 to 69.90. So that's one, when I gave you the recap earlier that Valerie had done, you see, this just happened. This is the current 30-minute candle. This happened 30 minutes ago. So this will show as a thumbs up when she does the recap today. Okay. All right, gold. I'm amazed that gold's higher with that huge discovery today that I talked about at the beginning of the broadcast. But it's going to it'll take a while to work its way through. So we open, get above the VBC, hit the target. Now, this candle opened at 91.3 and ran up to 93. It's $170 per contract traded. Then you got a leg and a retracement, pullback held. 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 All these candles are touching the VBC. So even though it spiked way down here, okay, pull back from up here, because you always wait for the current candle to close to then see if you have a tradable opportunity or a window of opportunity, as I like to call it. Now the step line has crossed, so that says get ready for a retracement back to the VBC. Plus, blue and climbing is directly above price. So this is probably the high. until we get the pullback. If we had an anomaly, and it's not a trade I would take because I don't like to trade anomalies. I like to trade what I'm used to. It's that high. Could you trade 27.10 to 27.11? I'd rather go. You know what? With so many markets and so many opportunities, when you got to like, oh, can I squeeze in a, just walk away. Wait for the simple and obvious. Okay? And always remember, step line crosses, blue and climbing, price is headed back to the PVC. This is a great example of legs. Leg, retrace, leg, retrace, leg, retrace, leg, retrace. Now I think it's going to have trouble putting in a higher high, just based on the structure of the market and our humble set of indicators. Okay? But did everybody have a chance to get the gold for the day last night early on if you're trading gold? Yeah. And you only need one trade in one market per day to make as much money as you want to make over time. 24/20 blueprint will walk you through 10 days in demo where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Then you'll get the green light to go live with one contract. Now your goal is to increase your account balance by $2,000. At $100 a day, that's going to take 20 days. But the good news is at the end of 20 days, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. And you're adding the second contract with profit you earned in the market, not your startup capital. Blueprint's going to tell you when to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10, number 20. But you only add one at a time when it's time. And you only add with profit you earn in the market, if you have the discipline to follow that. You should do okay. And if you can't figure out what's going wrong, you got 2 hours in the morning you can ask. You can ask around the clock via Telegram. You can book a one-on-one mentoring session. Our goal is to see you succeed and become an independent trader. To whom much is given, much is required. Stefan is such a great example of that. He puts in a lot of time and energy posting charts in the discussion group every day. I used to do it, and then he came along, and I encouraged him, okay? And that's just his way of giving back to the community, helping the new guy, okay? We want you to become that. We want you to become the next Stefan. And I'm seeing lately here more and more traders sharing their charts. You know, it takes a little courage because you're putting yourself on the line. Okay, you're saying, okay, I see this setup and I just want to share it with you because I'm getting ready to trade it. Okay. All right. Silver. Here's where we open, hit the long target, hit the short target, hit the zone to the tick, the zone that came out Monday morning at 6:15 Eastern. From support, resistance, back to support. Almost like paint by numbers. Remember those when you were a kid? God, mine looked horrible. Last but not least, the euro, of which I'm no fan. We're below the lowest zone on the euro as well. And we've been below it now for a day and a half. But look at this pullback. Pulled up to the lowest zone. and dropped like a rock. And see the first candle? It hit the target and bounced all the way up to here. And then came down through it. Perfect stack, price, step line, red and fall, ABC. One last check on 59.27 and a quarter. Yeah, so that's just 3 ticks off. That's about as close as you can get it. But look, we're like 50% off the high of the day. This candle right here, this is the session that started last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if we're not 50% off the high of the day, we're real close. And it looks like we're dropping. See, it's one thing for traders to run up the market on good news, but at the close today, you'll find out how much conviction they have. Okay? Will they carry open trades home overnight? We just got a little pop to the upside as I said that. How we closed yesterday was incredibly weak. I mean, yesterday's volume, 888. Today's volume, so far, 817. So I'm sure we'll beat yesterday's volume. Okay? But on a normal day, we crack 1 million. That's there. That horizontal line on my cursor. That's roughly. Okay. All right. To become a member, go to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, call us at 949-42-EMINI. Send us an email, support@cfrn.net. When you become a passport holder, you'll get 2 hours of live training every trading day in live markets in an interactive environment where you're asking questions and learning how to trade. You also have access to one-on-one private mentoring at no extra charge. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder, are fluid across all markets and all time frames. Stocks, futures, crypto, Forex, ETF, it doesn't matter. Price flows the same across all markets and all time frames. As a passport holder, you get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock, concierge trade alerts every night when they're posted. Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you get the weekly trading zones, and you get to attend the members only workshop tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you're on the trial, you should have gotten an email yesterday, today, I don't know, maybe both. Follow those instructions so that we can get you an invitation out before the workshop starts. That's if you have come to the decision that you can do what we do. One thing I do want to say, a lot of people in the morning in the live training room, when they see Michael with 4 different markets up, they're like, oh my God, there's no way I can watch and properly trade 4 markets at a time. You don't have to. And we're not suggesting that you do that. Pick one market and get good with that. Once you get good with one market, then you can trade anything in the world because we use the same indicators, the same strategy, the same rules, no matter what we're trading, no matter what time frame we're trading. So if you like the ES, then you don't have to put up 4 charts like Michael does. Just put up the ES. Now on your other monitor, you want to be watching the live training room and listening to what he says. And it may take time before it clicks. Oh my gosh. I didn't think I knew how to trade the Russell, but it's just like the ES or the NQ or gold or Apple or Amazon or the spider. But you don't, again, don't feel overwhelmed. He's trying to show everyone that what we do is fluid across all markets. But I know it freaks some people out because they're like, oh my God, there's no way I can watch 4 markets at one time. You don't have to. Pick a market, trade it, till you get your 10 consecutive days in a row. Okay? So that you can go live in the market of your choice. It's one contract. And then in 20 days, you'll get to add a second contract with profit you earn in the market. All right, let's wrap it up with a good word for the day, as we do every day. Last 2 days, we've talked about, are you flourishing? Today, part 3. Now, are you getting by? Are you hanging in there? Are you making it? God created you to flourish. John 12:25. The one who loves his life will lose it, and the one who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life. Here are 2 more areas in which God created you to flourish. Number 1, relationships. Relationally, your languishing self is often troubled. You're undisciplined in what you say, sometimes reverting to sarcasm, gossip, or flattery. You isolate, you dominate, you attack, you withdraw. Whereas your flourishing self seeks to bless others. They energize you. You're able to disclose your thoughts and feelings in a way that invites openness in them. You're quick to admit your own mistakes and to freely forgive others. Number 2, your experiences. We've all had different experiences. Some of us grew up with a silver spoon. Some of us grew up with a plastic spoon. I grew up in a middle-class family. Oh my God. I think my head's going to explode. I actually, you know what I was making a joke of, but anyway, I grew up in a poor working class family. Okay. It's just the truth. Not ashamed of it. Obviously, in the birth lottery, God could have me. He could have had me born into, a New York City penthouse, the slums of India. But he chose a little town called Thompson, Georgia. Okay? He's got a reason and a plan for everything he does. So it was where I was, challenges I faced, all the things that I went through. That's part of God shaping and molding me, the potter with the clay, turning me into what he wants me to be. God grows you because he wants to use you in his plans to redeem his world. That's why you find him changing your experiences. Your flourishing self has the desire to contribute. You live with a sense of calling. Indeed, your inner longing to become all you were meant to be is a tiny echo of God's longing to begin the new creation. The rabbis spoke of this as tikkun olam, which means to repair the world. Focused on yourself, your life is as small as a grain of wheat. Given to God, however, it's as if that grain is planted in rich soil, growing into part of a much bigger project. In John 12:24, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains by itself. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. The one who loves his life will lose it. One who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternity. That's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy, with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell. That bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.